This is the electric load center video. We got our meter here on the garage east exterior wall. We've got a sliding electric power supply conduit. That's a good thing. This meter should be sealed on 3 sides. Okay, between the meter box and the brickwork to help prevent moisture infiltration into the wall system. Now, by current codes, I know this home is only, a year old, a couple years old, depending on when the codes were written, but the main electric service disconnect should be on the exterior wall. And it's not, and that's current. It's a safety thing, so no main disconnect on the exterior wall. This is a grounding rod, one of them. And it's an 8-foot grounding rod, supposed to be, unless they cut it off and made 2 4-foots to, spread the welt. But it should be an 8-foot, but it's supposed to be buried 8 feet. It's not supposed to be buried 7 foot 6 inches. It's supposed to be buried 8 feet. Now, an electrician, like at my house, could come out and use an ohm meter and prove to the code inspector that it was getting enough resistance, and the code inspector could approve it. But I don't know that happened. I don't think that it happened, and whether it happened or not, I wasn't here to see that, and there's no documentation that it happened. The grounding rod's not properly buried. It's just that simple. I didn't make that up. Coming along, we got a second ground over here. Ground number 4 wire inside the wall right there. It's called a UFER, U-F-E-R. And then here's our load center with our main disconnect on the inside. Now, what's going on here with the load center with the main disconnect on the inside is I do not see where the grounding location is labeled. No grounding location. We do have our energy notice. It is properly labeled with printing. Now, some square D cabinets, like this one, have been recalled. This one has not. This one has not been recalled. This is one of the good ones, okay? L1 and L2 have their booties on there. It's because it's the main disconnect, 200 amps, even though it's on the inside, They like it on the outside because of the firemen and such. Now, the cabinet shouldn't have more than 1/8 of an inch gap between the cabinet and the drywall. And we've got, oh, come on, bud. It's new construction. Give us a break. I'll give you a break. See that little Bonnie card out there? Hawk Electronics. 17-year-old kid from Hawk Electronics installed a stereo into that dash, and it looks like it came from the factory, like it was molded, like it was all one dash, one piece, no gaps. And dollars of donuts, that 17-year-old kid had more on his mind about Friday night, what he was going to do with his buds or his girlfriend or what was going on in his life than a 35-year-old electrician out here. And, if a 17-year-old kid can do it, I think a 35-year-old electrician could do it. I'm just saying. Or maybe it's the drywall guy. Whoever you want to say is, all you gotta do is look at the dash of my car. All right. So you're not supposed to have more than 1/8 of an inch gap. I'm just saying. You're not supposed to. Coming on along here. See this right here? This is called bundling. This big old knockout, okay? And some people call them twist outs, okay? That's for L1 and L2, because when this box was manufactured, we didn't know where it was going. That knockout was for these 3 wires, these 3 cables, excuse me. That wasn't for these. See all these little knockouts? You're only supposed to bring 2 in at a time. Okay, more than 2, it's called the skin effect. Now, even the illustration that I've baked into my inspection report is somewhat apologetic about this. Sometimes the cure is worse than the ill. Maybe when the panel's replaced in 30 years, then it would be laced in properly at that time. It was done wrong, though. It was done wrong, and that's all I'm saying. Now, see this paint inside of here? It's really not affecting the bus bar. But the code does not distinguish the difference. It says inside of the cabinet, there should be no paint. Okay, the manufacturer's instructions say inside of the cabinet, there should be no paint. The code says there should be no debris inside of the cabinet. and so does the cabinet manufacturer. They agree on this. There should be no debris inside of the cabinet. Those are actual code violations. And it probably won't affect the warranty, but it could, because it violates the code inspectors. Over here we have an overfused, it should be a 35 amp for the air conditioning, and this 30 amp for the clothes dryer should be GFCI protected, and it's not GFCI protected. We use the right kind of screws on it, and the right kind of labeling. So what did we learn? We learned that our grounding rod was not properly buried. We learned that our main disconnect is not located on the exterior. We learned that we've got debris and paint inside of the cabinet. We learned that we've got bundling. And we learned that we've got gaps between the cabinet and the wall. That's what we learned. Now this is an occupied home. This is a 1-year inspection. So we're not going to trip the GFCIs. We're not going to trip the AFCIs and the GFCI AFCI combinations. We're not going to trip any of this stuff. Alright, because the home is occupied. We're just inspecting for its location, which we do not have a GFCI for the clothes dryer. So there we go. And what do we have here? A message from our sponsor.